People are really hurting at the moment, which has really forced them to focus on politics.
The Liberal National Party is trying to rally voters on the southern Gold Coast by talking tough about the impact of the border restrictions on jobs.
So that's me there, I'm Laura.
Okay, lovely to meet you.
We understand that that border is a complete political tool because we live here. We know that's not keeping anyone safe.
The opposition's Laura Gerber holds Currumbin by a narrow margin. The electorate sits on the New South Wales border and hospitality businesses are struggling.
And we need the borders to come down. We need the continuity of freedom on the borders for people to come to Queensland.
The popularity of Premier Annastacia Palaszczuk has surged during the pandemic. Central to her campaign is the claim that by following the health advice and ignoring harsh criticism, she's kept people safe.
Deb Frecklington and Scott Morrison demanded that we reopen the borders before the 1st of July, almost the exact day Victoria's second wave of infections began.
But the election is a tight race. The Premier has a slim 2-seat majority, and that's why she's battling to take Gold Coast seats off the LNP like Currumbin, which would be a major upset.
No, well, you know... We've got babies and dogs. Yeah. We've got it all covered here this morning.
We're really shouldering our fair share of the burden of that, keeping everybody safe. We're a border town, we straddle that border every single day.
Labor's border stance looks like a winner. The LNP has muted its criticism about reopening to New South Wales. Here on the Gold Coast, Labor claims that Palaszczuk's border closure has resonated with retirees and older voters.
We'll see some people who maybe haven't voted Labor in a long time coming back to us because of COVID.
Despite its tough talk, the LNP admits it won't reopen to New South Wales if that goes against the health advice.
If that's the health advice, then we will follow it. Absolutely.
The opposition is trying to shift the conversation to the sluggish economy because they need to hold this seat and take 9 more to win government.
What I want to do is I want to promote the LNP's vision for Queensland, and it's about creating jobs, growing this economy so we can get Queensland working again.
We have the highest rate of unemployment, higher even than Victoria.
What could be a deciding factor for the LNP in close seats is whether preferences from minor parties land in their favour.
Labor is imposing 20% death tax.
Clive Palmer's wife Anna is running in Currumbin and his party is spending heavily on anti-Labor advertising.
I think people see through the death tax is an outright lie. The Premier has categorically ruled it out time and time again.
One key seat where preferences could see Labor lose is in inner city South Brisbane.
I have thought that the odds were stacked against me for quite some time.
Jackie Trad is the local member, but it's been a humbling term in office, falling from the heights of Queensland Deputy Premier to a backbencher fighting for her political survival.
The LNP came out with their preferencing arrangement last year. They made it clear that they were going to preference the Greens above Labor in South Brisbane. They needed to do absolutely everything they could to form government in Queensland.
Trad defeated the Greens' Amy McMahon last election, but this time polls and pundits say the Greens candidate is the front-runner.
And here in South Brisbane, we're so close. So come down here, cast your vote for the Greens.
Okay. Jackie Trad resigned from the ministry in May after 2 controversies. One involving claims she interfered with the selection of a school principal and failed to declare an investment property. She was ultimately cleared by Queensland's corruption watchdog.
And I stepped down for my own purposes to actually have a really good focus and run at South Brisbane.
So you haven't made any mistakes?
Oh, I'm not saying that I haven't made mistakes.
The opposition leader Deb Frecklington has also had to fend off questions about her integrity.
Donations are publicly declared on the ECQ website.
Following revelation, she went to a dinner hosted by a property developer and attended by party donors. Developers are prohibited donors, and the matter has been referred to the electoral watchdog.
Let's make it really clear. I stand by my integrity.
The real danger for Labor is losing seats in North Queensland, where the tourism industry has been decimated by border closures.
The financial impact on our business is massive. Take a walk down the Esplanade in Cairns or any of the CBD and the number of empty shops is quite astounding. It feels like something out of a dystopian nightmare, to be honest.
Voters in the north could be crucial to deciding who forms the next Queensland government. Here in Cairns there are 2 marginal Labor seats and there are 3 more in Townsville, and the Liberal National Party is targeting them with its controversial youth crime policy.
If you are on the streets doing the wrong thing, then you will be taken off the streets.
The LNP is proposing a nighttime curfew where police could detain children and teens found without an adult and take them to refuges. It's been criticised for tying up police resources, and Labor is promising to hire thousands of new cops instead.
Youth crime in Cairns, it's been a contentious issue at many elections, and I think it is in this one, and I think that will also sway people's votes.
Crime isn't the main issue on Roderick Rees's mind. It's been a horror year for the Cairns tourism operator. He's voting for the opposition.
I see this as a key vote in this area and these seats. They potentially could swing the state, and it's time for a real change, I think. Going back to wholly and solely domestic travel and then being forced into just our state, it gives us a pretty small pool of people.
All right, team, who are we? Team Awesome!
Rafting guide Tom Holloway has gone from working full-time to worrying about paying the rent.
Back up again, I think the borders probably could have been open by now or a bit earlier. I think there's not so many cases going on in New South Wales anymore.
Labor argues it's kept Queenslanders safe, but the opposition hopes the economic fallout makes an urgent case for change.
We are in an economic recession and we need a government that is going to drag us out of this recession.
People have been incredibly grateful, including small businesses, because they've been able to keep their doors open, they've been able to keep workers coming in to their jobs, and they've been able to get customers through the door.